Hi, this is the bad boy, Joey Janela, and you're listening to the Going in Raw podcast. Joey Janela always goes in.
This is the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, and you are listening to Going in Raw.
Hey everyone, Kenny Omega here. In case you didn't know, we have an awesome kick-butt show called Stephen Larson's Going in Raw, and they're going to be supporting AEW every week amongst many other things. Goodbye and smooch. Good night. Bye-bye.
Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going in Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Stephen Larson. Available also where podcasts can be found on tape live at the twitch.tv/Stephen Larson. Tomorrow, the numbers don't lie for Scott Steiner. That's right. The man who created Steiner Math will go one-on-one with Going in Raw Math. Patreon.com/Stephen Larson. At $5, you get to watch the show and you get to vote on the numbers for Scott Steiner. So be sure to check that out. Also, if you're a Twitch sub or if you click join on YouTube to become a YouTube channel.
I packed a lot into the show. This is what, fourth week in a row? We've basically gotten a pay-per-view quality event on basic cable television. It's quite a feat. And I'd be really announced by Tony Schiavone. And this live event is August 20th, the day before Summer's United Center. And the subtitle of this episode of Rampage is The First Dance. Of course, the Chicago Bulls, that great documentary called The Last Dance. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. I know it's 10 hours long, but it's worth every second of your time.
They even teased his potential first feud. I don't know, why do I even say potential? His first feud's going to be with Darby Allin. AEW, basically, he gave the old, this is where the big boys play line. He says, but, you know, I'll take them all on him in AEW. Looks like, it's a done deal. That's totally happened. There will be no swerve. Don't even ask us if you think there's going to be a swerve. Larson, is there going to be a swerve?
No.
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 So I'll be honest. Can we not bring this down? Okay, so yes.
A decision. This is going to be an ongoing process where we try to make this decision because we're slated. Of course, we're going to Vegas. Assuming things don't get worse in the world, we're slated to go to Vegas for SummerSlam weekend. We're not going to SummerSlam, but we'll be in Vegas that weekend. But just the day prior, that Friday, one of Steve's favorite wrestlers ever.
Yeah.
Top 3 probably, right?
It's
Triple H,
him,
Punk, and
Triple
Stone Cold.
And Stone Cold, yeah, probably. Yeah.
He's coming back after being gone from the business for more than 7 years.
Oh, man.
An event I'm sure Steve does not want to miss.
I don't, man. I don't want to miss it. I don't know. Yeah, I know. It's a conundrum. I mean, part of me wants to be like, hey, let's just it's Friday night. What time is it at? 7?
Yeah, I think 5? It's 7.
7 what, our time? 7, yeah, probably 7 our time?
Yeah.
Okay, let's say it's 7 our time. I don't know. I'll have just pulled in. Well, depending on when I get to Vegas. I don't know what we're going to do. We'll figure it out. We always figure these things out. There you go. Michael Sodope says rent out a bar and watch it with friendos. Maybe that could be the friendo meetup, is watch CM Punk, and then afterwards we get on the phone, do a quick 15-minute live recap on YouTube, and then that'll just be the thing. I don't know. I honestly don't know. We'll figure it out between now and then. We have a little bit of time, but not a ton.
We got 3 weeks.
Not a ton of time to figure that one out.
Other happenings on Dynamite. Was not expecting a full-on Nick Gage death match on AEW Dynamite, much less main event. But you know, he didn't go quite to the same lengths he did in his bout against Matt Cardona. But it was pretty close. We had the light tubes. Of course, we had the pizza cutter. We had a pane of glass. Had a bunch more light tubes, some chairs. Jericho was a bloody mess at the end of this. Pretty surprising they went to those lengths. And I feel like a bit lost in the shuffle, probably because commentary really didn't play up how important it was or how monumental it was, is that Tanahashi, granted via video promo, was on Dynamite issuing a challenge to whoever left this episode of Dynamite as U.S. champion. That's pretty significant.
They can't just ask New Japan to get like a decent camera on this guy, have him say his words for like a minute. Because it's always, whenever they do this, like when they had it on when Onita sent in his Matt Chat question, it always looks like grainy ass Matt Chat. They always use like the front facing camera. He doesn't have somebody to like film it for him properly on like an iPhone 12 or something. Yeah, it's very exciting though. But when I think Tanahashi, I'm like, man, you want all the spectacle of that Tanahashi brings with it because he's so great looking. He looks like a superhero. So no, that's very exciting. That's awesome. And yeah.
But
So
I
it
guess
looks
also
like-
the match is not happening on Dynamite. It's apparently going to happen at the Resurgence show in Los
Yeah,
Angeles.
that makes some sense. Yeah, that makes some sense. That's a big deal show.
That's a huge
there.
match. And also another part of
Big
this
match, yeah.
is that Mox later on complained about not getting a chance to go back to Japan and singled out Tanahashi for dodging him. So maybe we'll get some Mox interference at the end of that match, so Archer can retain. And then from there, maybe we'll get Mox and Tanahashi in AEW. Who knows?
I think you're probably right about that. I think thinking about it early on, it wouldn't shock me if Tanahashi won the match and then Mox came out and challenged him, and maybe they did like a non-title match back in AEW. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Don't know.
But it definitely looks like we're getting Mox versus Tanahashi, which is a lot of fun, and then we're getting Tanahashi versus Archer before that. So that's really cool. So yeah, I mean, dude, let's just go ahead and, let's talk about this. Obviously, probably one of the biggest story beats there was tonight was, of course, the Dark Order. Hangman Page, fully Dark Order branded, throwing up the sign and everything. His Tron had changed from the red color to the purple color. I got chills watching this, man. It was beautiful. And then he lost the big match, which was meant to propel him to the title match and the Dark Order to a tag match at All Out. That, for right now, in the storyline isn't happening. I still get the feeling. that that's still going to be the match for All Out. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too, because Kenny pinned Page after a one-winged angel. However, it was preceded by a championship title shot and not an opportunity. Kenny blasted him with one of his belts. And I guess if they could go the route of Page says, well, yeah, you beat me, I lost, but it took you, throwing a title at me essentially to do it. And then from there, maybe spin off into some other situation where he can earn himself a title shot. I thought it was a great setup towards the end where you literally had Page versus Kenny and the Young Bucks. As the final four competitors in there.
If I'm not mistaken, the title, I could be totally wrong about this, but I thought the title Kenny used, the titles, the first one that was taken away and the second one that he tried was the tag titles, which of course is the thing. So yeah. I hope it's not going to be as simple as, hey, you use the title on me. Because it seems like it's like, well, he's a cowboy. You're supposed to persevere through that. But that being said, I still really feel like this is going to be the match. Like, I know they had mentioned Christian is sort of towards the top of the rankings, or Christian, does he still have did he win a title opportunity at some point?
No, he's never won a title.
No, he didn't. Oh, because Jungle Boy won that one match. Okay. So Christian versus Hangman, that's going to be, here's the thing. So the idea, I think right now, obviously we know where Phil Brooks is debuting. That's going to be a couple weeks before All Out. Daniel Bryan probably going to be at the New York show, I think is what has been said.
Yes.
And so in terms of times, places for Hangman to win the title, it should be All Out. It should be All Out, and the time should be now.
You hear the reactions he's getting. Yes, it should be.
He's hot. He's very hot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, look, there's any number of ways they can write that. But yeah, I still think that's going to be the match. But yeah, it was a wildly entertaining match that they had. But when you get to the finish, unless they had planned on having Kenny get DQ'd somehow, like what if Hangman hit that double lariat on both those guys and they allowed him, because AEW, you can play fast and loose with the rules, and they allowed him to pin them both. And then it's just him versus Kenny, and Kenny gets himself counted out, as opposed to, hey, I don't want to look at 4 here.
Like he gets freaked out because Page just stacked the Young Bucks and pinned them. Like, okay, well, I'm not going to step up to that right now. Now's not the time. Fine, I'll take you on one-on-one. Yeah, that's kind of what I was expecting, either a DQ or Kenny would walk out of the match when it was just down to him and Page. They didn't go that route, so now they add the extra wrinkle of, okay, the expectation is still that Page is going to get his title shot all out. How are we going to get there?
This is perfect, actually. AFG corrects me, says, actually, the first belt Kenny misses is the tag team belt, but the second one is the AEW champion belt, which is even more apropos than just using both the tag titles. I love that. That's great. I love AEW pays attention to detail. It's rewarding when you see that stuff. All right, let's take a quick break for a word from the sponsor of today's show, Decked. So I'm sure we've all been in a situation where you get in a friend's truck or your own truck and notice that it's an absolute mess. Just stuff everywhere in the cab, on the floor, under the seats. And you think to yourself, it'd be great if I could tell this friend of mine something that can help them keep their stuff organized.
Well, Steve, next time you see that friend who's got all that stuff, whether it's in the cab or sitting in the truck bed just unsecured and exposed to the elements, rattling around completely unorganized, you can tell them about the Decked Drawer System. See, whether it's work tools, camping gear, or safety items, Decked helps you organize, protect, and secure all your stuff.
That's right. Each of Decked's 2 full bed-length drawers can carry up to 200 pounds of whatever you want to be in them. And the drawers roll out about waist-high, so you get easy access to all your tools and gear. Plus, they're weatherproof, protecting everything from the elements.
Decked also has a full line of storage accessories to help you stay organized. I'm talking toolboxes, tie-downs, and a bunch of other options so you can maximize both your space and your time. On top of that, the Decked Drawer System is 100% made in the USA and backed by a 3-year no-hassle warranty with a second-to-none customer service team ready to answer all your questions.
So get your Decked Drawer System at decked.com/raw and get free shipping. That's decked.com/raw for free shipping on your Decked Drawer System. Decked.com/raw. So let's get into it, and maybe we'll discover more stuff on the way. It starts with that There's a great video package they did that sort of had Hangman on the range, on the ranch, I guess, and it talks about how being a cowboy isn't necessarily about riding a horse per se,
or wearing
it's
a
more
hat.
a state of or wearing a hat. Yeah, it's, and I'm paraphrasing here, a state of mind of resiliency. It's getting up when you get knocked down, and then they do a thing where like all the Dark Order, they're lined up on stage.
Great.
And like spotlights start coming down, and they're all wearing purple bandanas around their, like the old robbers did when they would rob trains. And then the final one in the middle is Hangman, and he's wearing purple, and his Tron is in purple, and it's awesome.
Yep.
It's so great. They come down, and some people in chat corrected me also. He didn't quite do the Dark Order sign.
He just
he
pointed
did a
up.
gun finger. Yeah. So that was really cool stuff.
That was cool. And then the Elite come out, and they have their own Tron, and it's all very reminiscent of a Chicago Bulls introduction, save for the music. They didn't have Alan Parsons' project. Sirius, I believe the song is called. But they had Justin Roberts announcing the starting lineup, culminating with Kenny being last out, saying, "From North Carolina."
Well, they did the, y'all ready for this?
After the introductions, they did that. Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So everybody had a nickname. Kenny was out last. Kenny and the Bucks had Elite Squad jerseys, like Toon Squad from Space Jam. It was actually an integration, I think.
It was an ad integration,
which is a really cleverly done. And then then after that they did and they start doing some dribbling tricks on the stage,
really
some hoops.
Really bad.
I know,
bad dribbling tricks. And Nick was the only one you can tell right there who knew what he was doing.
Knew how to play ball. Yeah, Kenny the Bucks. Not only they were wearing the matching Elite Squad gear, they were wearing Space Jam Jordan 11s.
Mm-hmm.
Nice touch.
Yep.
So the match begins early on. Page is taking it to Carl Anderson. Kenny attacks Page from behind.
And
match
what number
down.
Did Carl Anderson have on his jersey?
2012. So the match breaks down. Dark Order suplexes the Elite. The brawl goes to the floor. And then Alex Reynolds and Nick Jackson, they're up at the top rope. Reynolds suplexes Nick onto everybody else. Eventually, though, Reynolds clotheslines Gallows out of the ring. Anderson rolls him up with a handful of tights. Alex Reynolds first eliminated. Pretty quickly after that, not surprising who the first elimination from the Elite is. Carl Anderson is surrounded by Page in the Dark Order. They lay into him. Stu and Evil Uno hit their finish, fatality. Uno gets the cover. Anderson is eliminated. Carl Anderson eats pins. Later on, Stu Grayson hits Gallows with a 450. Kenny breaks up that pin again. The match breaks down. Everybody but Kenny and Stu are on the floor. And Stu hits this crazy springboard corkscrew splash. Basically, this combination, he kind of overshot it, but also he landed a spot where kind of nobody was.
Everybody sort of got out of the way. I don't know what I looked at because they did the replay and you see Gallows started to move. I'm like, why are you moving away from him? You're supposed to catch him. What are you doing? Yeah, he landed with a thud, but then he got right back up and they did a thing where him and Gallows went out to the crowd and he did another jump from one of the little barricade things.
Yeah.
And they ended up getting counted out. So Stu Grayson and Gallows were out. Uno and Kenny went at it for a bit. Uno hit an end of days on Kenny for 2. He goes up top, but he ends up eating knees on a senton bomb. Kenny hits a V trigger. Oh yeah, Silver got taken out with a BTE trigger because the Bucks powerbomb Page during the commercial break on the apron. So they were,
and Nick was trying to do an alley-oop dunk on the hoop while also delivering the jumping aspect of the Meltzer driver. He didn't nail the dunk, but they got and then a super kick party from the Young Bucks and Kenny. Cover, Page stretch, but kicking out of everything. Eventually, he flips out of a German suplex. However, while that's happening, Cutler hands Kenny another belt, the AEW title. Whiffs.
Going to come back with a head full of steam, or is he going to, sulk and drown his sorrows in the booze, Larson, in the bottle? We'll find out. After that, we had Marvez like, hey, Lucha Bros aren't here. He's like, no, they are here. Someone canceled their car from the airport. And so Chavo and Andrade show up. And Chavo's like, no, man, we're just taking care of those dudes. We got them a limo. A limo is a really long. I couldn't quite make out what Andrade had said. Did you get some
I think
of
he
this?
was saying, hey, Pac, if you don't take care of your guys, they'll join up with someone who will.
Okay, I think that's, I sort of got that. After that, he runs down Brian Cage. He says, I've been loose since day one. I can't let... I know you were vanity searching yourself, befriending. You never checked on me, though, when I broke my neck. And then Cage comes down and runs Starks off, and that's kind of just it.
Well, I like the bit where Stark says, I know what it means to be a star, something Cage has spent 17 years trying to figure out, and even standing next to me, not an ounce of my charisma could rub off on Brian Cage. And then Brian Cage just kind of interrupts and just kind of comes out and just beats up the band a little bit. And then
proves the point. Kind of proves the point.
Exactly.
Yeah,
there wasn't a solid punctuation for Brian Cage to get any heat back. He beats up a couple members of the band and breaks a bass drum over somebody's head, but then Starks just runs off after he throws flowers in his face. So
JR has an oddly cheap shot about trombones being ringside,
not belonging in wrestling.
Yeah. After that, we had the Go Ace Matt Chat. He basically says he wants a shot at the United States title, and he's challenging officially the winner of tonight. And then, like we said at the head of the show, that's going to take place at Resurgence.
Yes. After that, we had FTR versus Santana Ortiz. I don't know what. So during the course of the match, FTR is setting up for the superplex splash combo. Cash is pushed off the top rope by Santana, and on his way down, it looked like from the video he got his forearm maybe caught on the hook of the turnbuckle or something in the turnbuckle. And it looks like he had a pretty huge gash or good-sized gash in his forearm. And so they seemed like they had to cut the match a bit short. Dax ended up hitting a brain buster on Ortiz to get the win. I'm sure the result would have been the same had Cash not gotten injured. But it was obviously an abridged version of whatever they had planned. Hopefully Cash is okay. He was out on the floor getting attended to by trainers holding his arm. So hopefully he's doing all right.
There was a lot of blood happening, but hopefully, he had trainers already with him.
As soon as it happens, he looks and covers it up and gets off the apron and walks around, I think, to a trainer or something. So hopefully he's doing all right.
Yeah, absolutely. After that, we had a Britt Baker interview. She says, you know what? I keep getting hurt because Reba can't help me when everyone's gunning for me. She says, everyone's at at home holding their breath, waiting for her to fail. They're all going to end up suffocating. Did she make a reference to possibly bringing somebody else in to help protect her? So who do you think that could be? Wouldn't it be awesome if it was Jade Cargill?
That would be cool. I was thinking maybe
Shaq.
Some iconic help.
Oh, there you go. That's right. Ooh, that's exciting.
But yeah, she did. She said, Rebel is having a hard time keeping people out of my matches. So
yeah.
Then we get the announcement of August 20th, AEW Rampage, the first dance. CM Punk's totally going to be there. The crowd do. They started chanting CM Punk.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get the Sting and Darby interview.
And they had those cameras on everybody with just as loud as they could. CM Punk, so they totally, They're gonna get even more obnoxious with the teases, aren't they?
They might for another week, and then they'll back off.
You think so?
It's like Tony doing the paid ads on Impact.
Oh yeah.
He'd do them, reach a certain point, and then just back off. Right before he shows up. Hoping people, like 2 weeks in advance, people might just kind of forget. So Darby says, hey, I've been around a lot of men who have laid claim to being the greatest, but there's only one place to prove it. AEW, even if you think you're the best in the world.
Yeah.
Stares right at the camera, basically.
The best in the world. I'm talking about CM Punk right now.
Talking to you, Phil.
If you can't understand what I'm saying.
Talking to you, Phil.
If you're not good at reading between the lines. After that, we had Hikuleo with Haku versus Lance Archer. And solid enough match. Hikuleo is a tall dude.
I believe they said 6'10".
Yeah, man, that's a big dude. Archer ends up hitting a superplex for 2 and then a blackout for 3. Fun match, though.
It was great seeing Haku out there.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
And then he did his old finish to Archer during a picture-in-picture.
That's right, yeah.
That was great.
What was even greater was next Cody had an interview where he started rambling about things being weird in the world. So much happening in our world. And then just Malachi Black just came in like a truck and just booted Cody's head clean off. It was great. Cody was so enwrapped in his own bullshit that he didn't see this guy coming right in front of him to annihilate his head. I loved it. It was great. They end up fighting out to the ramp. The crowd starts giving Cody shit. And Malachi Black hits a jumping knee on Cody, lays him out. And then a bunch of trainers and Fuego come out.
Oh, poor Fuego.
The Nightmare family. And Malachi Black acts like he's backing up. And then Fuego gets up and he eats a black mass.
Ugh.
It was awesome. It was great.
So I was looking up any more details on how Cash Wheeler's doing. And there was somebody that was there said he actually got it stuck in a metal piece in the ring post.
Ouch. God
Yeesh.
dang. That sucks. That sucks.
Yeesh.
Miro. You are the resident
I was too
Miro
busy paying
stan.
attention, so I didn't catch all the details of what he said. Because it's hard not to get it's hard to keep your eyes off Miro when he's dropping these great promos.
I don't blame you. We got to get one of the friendos to get these Miro notes so that you can enjoy it, man.
So,
Miro, I got this much.
Sorry, go ahead.
He said this used to be an open challenge title, but the challenges have dried up. But Lee Johnson is not any talent. He's talented. He deserves a shot, but he's not going to take away. And what did he call the title? It was something like a divine
His
something.
divine right, I believe.
Yes, that's right. And then he punctuates it. He says some other stuff, but he says 2 things in life motivate me: a vengeful God and a double-jointed wife.
God, he's so good.
Yeah,
These are the
really
words of the
good.
Redeemer.
Yes, the Redeemer. Yeah,
Gosh,
exactly.
he's so good. Then we get Hardy Family Office, Private Party, and Angelico taking on Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, Christian Cage. I didn't get any vibe of any tension between Jurassic Express and Christian Cage. They worked as a pretty solid unit. In the end, Christian ends up getting the pin on Mark Quinn after Luchasaurus hits a choke slam. Right before that, Jungle Boy takes out Cassidy and Angelico with the tope. Solid match. I thought they kept this. It seemed like they kept this pretty brief. It was pretty direct to the point. Get Jurassic Express over.
When Christian ran Matt Hardy back to the back, and I was like, "Oh, is he just leaving? Is this going to be the thing?"
Yeah.
And then he came back, though. He came back.
Yeah,
So.
he was gone and then he was back.
Yeah. And then the Blade masked man. I thought it was Elite Hunter for a second, but no, it was Blade. I was like, that didn't make any sense. What's Kazarian doing?
Kazarian going out here decking Christian for no reason.
Christian Cage is not elite. That's why it wasn't the Elite Hunter. Blade lays out Christian Cage after the show with some brass knucks, and Matt Hardy comes out to celebrate Blade doing that.
Yes. And then we got a Nick Gage video package. Dropped a bit of a promo.
Yeah.
It was cool. They're getting some time to get people who may not be aware of his career.
Yeah, it's weird seeing him in HD because, like, I'm used to grainy Twitter videos of Nick Gage. Yeah, it was weird. He's all like polished, like it's all polished production. Nick Gage is it's weird to see. It's just weird. But yeah, it was good. And then there was a really quick match here: Julia Hart versus Thunder Rosa.
That was pretty quick.
There was a picture-in-picture. Sort of Pillman and Griff Garrison gave her a bit of a pep talk type promo, pumping her up. And then Thunder Rosa had her own picture-in-picture promo. Basically said, it's my first match and as being an official member of the AEW roster, and you're going to see just why I just do what I want to do. And she did that, hit that Thunder Driver for 3 to finish off Julia Hart after not a very competitive match.
No. Thunder Rosa was pretty much well in control of the whole thing. We got some matches announced next week for Homecoming. Surely the main event, Malachi Black versus Cody. Also, Miro versus Lee Johnson. The Bunny versus Layla Hirsch, and the winner gets an NWA Women's title shot, if I heard that correctly.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then Christian Cage versus The Blade. Before the main event, got a Mox promo. And he says, last time you saw me, I was crawling out a pit of barbed wire, and that's fine. He's like, no huge
that's
deal.
Fine. Yeah.
But then I was watching the Olympics, and I was wondering how these teams from all over the world, can get in Japan, but I can't. My calls go unanswered, contracts go unsigned. And he says, now that I lost the U.S. title, suddenly I see Tanahashi on TV. You've been dodging me for months. The Mox says, Tanahashi, you're dead to me. He says, well, I'm just going to send a huge pile of contracts to Japan, see what pans out, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it's
he's
good
looking
stuff.
for a fight.
Looking for a fight. Japan. Go Ace. And then we had our main event, Chris Jericho, the Painmaker versus Nick Gage. MJF comes out with popcorn on commentary. And, so Gage comes out, swings. First thing he does, takes a swipe at Jericho with that pizza cutter. And bloodies up Jericho's arm a little bit. It's sort of the until the light tubes came into play, the match was a bit on the plodding side.
Yeah, things kicked up a notch in the second half.
It was like I don't know, 7 minutes of like, man, these guys are kind of just slow, and then all of a sudden it was just like Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Like it was
just
pane of glass.
It was a snuff film on TNT. We know drama. Well, yeah, they do.
Yeah, pizza cutters. It got rough towards the end. So
Gage finds those light tubes. Jericho, meanwhile, gets a bat, and I'm like, oh, that's how Gage is not going to use the light tubes because Jericho has a bat. No, he used the light tubes quite a bit.
Yeah, it just took a little bit longer than it otherwise would have had Jericho not found the bat.
Right, exactly. So Gage gives him like a choke slam backbreaker thing over his knee.
Great.
That was awesome. Gets out the pizza cutter again. Gets out a pane of glass. They set it up between two chairs. Jericho hits a Rana through the glass.
I love that Gage didn't get the pane of glass himself. He told someone at ringside to get it and put it in the ring for him. He grabs him by the shirt and tells him to do it. That was great.
That's awesome. That's great. And then Gage just starts killing light tubes over Jericho's head and back. Then does a pile driver into the broken glass. I think there was a power bomb at one point into the glass as well. Gage does the whole bit where he's stabbing Jericho in the head. He does that a bunch of times with the shard of light tube. Mm-hmm. But then to get the finish here, Jericho hits a mist in the eyes of Gage and then smashes some light tubes on his head. And, of course, finishes him off with Judas Effect, which is, more dangerous than any of the deathmatch moves.
What I texted you, I was like, all right, I'm just waiting for the Judas Effect into the light tubes.
That'd have been sick. I know. That'd have been really cool. All he has to do is raise it up to here, and then you get the Judas Effect. Yeah, it'd be great.
I know. So anyways, MJF pretty much immediately gets on the mic after Gage loses. tells Jericho, hey, the state you're in, there's no chance you're ever going to get to wrestle me. But here's stipulation number 3. You got to hit a top rope maneuver against your opponent. And then he throws the video. And I remember this happening. I don't remember how long ago it was, where during the course of like a promo off between the two of them, Jericho mentions Juventud Guerrera.
Mm-hmm.
And MJF's like, who's that? And Jericho says, Google him. And MJF says, I did. He was your rival back in your WCW days. So labor number 3 is a match against Juventud Guerrera.
Yeah. Who wants the juice? Yeah, that was awesome. I love when they do that kind of stuff. They set stuff up. It's like you just set a bunch of stuff up and then you can like reference it down the line. Somebody here in our chat, and I apologize for not seeing exactly who it was, mentioned that before tonight's opening match, they had watched the Revolution match, I guess, between Hangman and
Kenny and Page versus the Young Bucks.
Right, yeah, I guess that's the one.
Tag match?
And he said that this match had like a ton of callbacks to that match, which isn't shocking at all. Like,
nope.
I love when they do that stuff.
Yep, it's the attention to detail and storytelling that really, in my mind, puts AEW over the top for me. Oh, it looks like it's Goatee 11 left some bits.
Awesome.
Had some
cool.
bits. Callbacks
Thank
were
you
amazing.
very much
So
for
I
that,
rewatched the Revolution 2020 match earlier before the 10-man tag tonight. The callbacks were amazing. Then the touch with Kenny trying to use the tag title, the cheap shot. Hangman was so good on top of all the ridiculousness. There was some really cool long-term storytelling in that match. That's great. I love that so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here.
King Bless asks, when Hangman wins the AEW title, would you have him kick out of the One-Winged Angel or not? At this point, he has to.
Yeah, you have to. Absolutely, he has to. Absolutely. 100%. Dog Authority figure, who in the Elite Squad do you think you two would have the best shot against in 2-on-2 street ball?
Kenny
Don
Matt.
Callis and Gallows.
Kenny, because Kenny didn't get anywhere close to hitting that jumper.
Okay.
And he seemed to have the worst handles of the 3.
Yeah.
Carl Anderson actually looked like he had a decent.
I think Carl Anderson could probably ball. Gallows, I know he's tall, but like, I don't know, he can't move all that well.
Yeah, but he's really tall.
He is tall.
Kenny, and then maybe Matt. Kenny for sure.
Yeah.
Goatee 11 with the sub. Thank you so much. Also says, with Hoovy being the third labor at Jericho, do you think we have a history of Jericho gauntlet match with Malenko, Jerry Lynn, etc. from people within AEW for its 4th labor if it isn't Sammy? Oh, that'd be interesting if he had to beat Sammy. Guevara.
Ooh, that's a cool idea. And Sammy's like, I don't want to do this. And he's like, well, if you don't, he doesn't get a shot. And then they have to do it. Mm-hmm. And he's like, no shenanigans. You need to try to beat him. Mm-hmm. That's a great idea.
That is a good idea.
I don't know. See, the thing about all the old guys is I don't know if Dean Malenko can wrestle anymore. I don't know if what MJ said about him was true or not, but if it is, like, he's not going to be able to wrestle.
Yeah, I think Jerry Lynn had his own injury issues. So
yeah, it wouldn't shock me either. Those guys are really old. Let's see here. Lubricant Hornet said, I love AEW, but I'm absolutely convinced I'm going to see somebody die on live television. For example, tonight Stu Grayson made that amazing jump out of the ring, but the way his head hit the ground just took me out of the match. Not a question, I guess, more of amusing. I've actually had that same... I do think that AEW, they allow their wrestlers more freedom, and it does put them, I think, in a little bit more jeopardy. Because sometimes it does get kind of like, oh, wow, that's not good. Mm-hmm. Like the thing with the FTR tonight, like Cash, I think that was just a fluke thing. I don't know what you could do to protect yourself against that.
Yeah, it's just one of those freak things, it seems like.
Right. But yeah, sometimes I get that same sort of feeling from AEW, and it's on my mind sometimes. You could just hope that it doesn't happen.
Yeah. So PW Insider has this about Cash Wheeler. Says the injury described as a really bad cut, immediately treated by AEW Medical. All right, what did these band members ever do to Cage? He was clearly the heel. The band members were completely innocent, doing their jobs, and Cage attacks them and breaks their expensive instrument. Yeah.
I feel like Team Taz was like in the right with that whole thing, to be honest with you. Like, you know, hey, don't use the title. Why not? There was never really a real explanation for that stuff, you know?
Says he wants the best in the world. He was obviously talking about Shane O'Mac.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes total sense. That'd be reports with Darby's reference. Is Darby the right first opponent for Punk's comeback? And how do you think it'll play out? Plus, I think he's a great first feud. And then they'll do something cheesy where like Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, one guy's a bad guy and one guy's a good guy. Mm-hmm. Then yeah, that's totally a dream match that everybody wants. That everybody should want to see.
Cool. That could be
absolutely.
Cool. Hip Hop Hippo. Let's hear your wildest, most baseless, speculative predictions for the final 3 labors of Jericho.
Give me Steiner for number 4. And I mean, I know we've talked about a lot of labors, but Steiner's a great one. And I mean, there's been so many good ones that we've heard already. I want to try to come up with something original.
I'm going to go Goldberg at 4 and then Brock Lesnar at 5. Because remember, they got that tussle
Brock
backstage.
Is great. That's an awesome one. Yeah, it's just a labor of Jericho, Brock Lesnar. That's awesome. Yeah, that's a good one. And then yeah, actual like manual labor. So, you know, he helps MJF with like, you know, building
like a sprinkler system or something like
on
that.
His house. Yeah. Yeah, a sprinkler system. Oh, Sid. Yeah, what about Sid?
That's not much. That's not much of a labor for Jericho at this point. I don't think. Though.
Hold on, this is good though. This is good. Hugo Longham, says MJF says next week you have to hit a big boot from the second rope to win against Sid.
Oh, God. Or how about this? A softball home run derby against Sid.
Yes. Oh, you nailed it. You nailed it. Great job.
Jorge D, how would you vastly improve that Team Taz celebration? Because we all know it could have been more Team Taz besides Larson's awesome DJ Taz idea.
Yeah, that's a great one. I like the idea of maybe Hook being a DJ too.
Yeah, that'd be good.
And playing some, but they have him playing like, what was that? Oh, he's playing like dubstep. He's obsessed with dubstep.
Turns the house lights down. Everybody's giving some glow sticks and they start doing this.
Hook, what do you call this music? Hey.
Dangam Q, so when Punk shows up in AEW, will people still chant his name at WWE when things get boring over there? I think it's going to be worse than what they were before the pandemic. Yes, because now CM Punk will be a phrase used by fans of WWE shows to say, hey, this shit is worse than what AEW is doing.
Man, yeah, dude, I don't know. I mean, is the idea that they chant it because he's not there? Why at this point? Why do they still chant that? I mean, at this point, it's just because it's a chant.
Yeah.
But originally, it's because they wanted to see him, and it's like, hey, you let him go, and we like that guy. Please have him back. But if knowing he's gone and he's at a different place, you can get your CM Punk fix. I guess the question is, what would somebody in the ring in WWE that's getting the CM Punk chant? What's going to be their terrible comeback to it? Because sometimes they try to engage the fans. Oh, you can go see him in that pisshead company.
Yeah, it'd be something crap like that.
Something stupid like that.
Snacks for Hire, first time chat, says if they had Olympics for wrestling, who wins individual gold, silver, and bronze? Snacks for Hire suggests Roman for the gold, Kenny for the silver, and Naito for the bronze.
Wait, what?
If you had if there was a Olympics for men's professional wrestling,
oh yeah,
who would you have?
Oh God, are you kidding? Okada is gold. Okada is totally gold. Silver would be, in my opinion, Zack Sabre Jr. I think he's terrific.
He is terrific. Bronze, Blue Demon Jr.
Perfect. That's
great. This is a great question. Quoth the Raven, think Jericho will bring Hoovy's mask next week?
Whoa, yeah.
That would be great.
That's good. I like it. That would be great. That's awesome. All right, that's going to do it for us tonight. Twitch chat, stick around. We're going to answer some more of your questions. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.